Number 1. Business licensure. We're expecting to do this for MyWiry in two different ways, at least for now. Yelp for Business and Google Search Console. The two of these are what were recommended by Dr. Orion Taraban from none other than his Psych Hacks channel, I believe. Psych Hacks it is called? Yeah, Psych Hacks on YouTube. And he's a psychologist, I think clinical, I believe. He was a clinical psychologist who practices in a lot of dating and educational factors, but more importantly, he is someone who does his research and explains it very clearly and concisely. And he knows how to do this because he's probably been there before. And if you don't want to believe me, just look for his some of the things he's been working on, Stellar, GPE, or GRE. And what I'm trying to say is basically I trust him because he has what I want. And so we can talk about that in another video. But for business licensure, he recommended Google Search Console and Yelp for Business. And what I'm probably going to be able to do about this for my wire's sake is establish a Yelp for Business page and a landing page for Yelp for Business on MyWiry, other way around, and then have Google Search Console working through directly through the website and Squarespace as well. Because since MyWiry currently started with a Squarespace login account, it has a Squarespace website and everything that I pay for, and I am able to do some other lending aspects with the LLC on MyWiry as well for that. I can actually have a feature that allows me to connect MyWiry's Google Search Console to Squarespace, so for the website, so LLC's website. And whether that's official or not, I can make a better search results section for that because Google Search Console connects to Google directly, and Squarespace's Google Search Console feature can allow me to connect it for MyWiry. So, and that'll help me be easier to search Google search stuff as well easier. Yelp for Business will make it so that I have a landing page. Hopefully, I'll have a place that foundates MyWiry physically brick and mortar, which we'll get to in a second as well. But for the most part, you're able to have Yelp for Business for searching information on, call directions, phone number, website, other stuff. And I have at least half the things already on check, at least for now. And hopefully, if it's not halfway, more or less, it'll be enough things that fall on the page that will establish me a bit better than even the reviews will imply, because Yelp for Business also will help me get reviews, not just for Google. So Yelp and Google will have reviews collectively. But that's at least with business licensure for now. So yeah. Number 2, search results. The thing with being on Google and Yelp for Business and Google Search Console and Yelp isn't just for the reviews. It isn't just to be able to be looked up easier. It's actually to have a way to know that I established myself as a business. I did this in the wrong order. I was supposed to do something else for the first item, so we'll do it for this item. For number 2, we will now instead talk about the real licenses from being searchable, and that more or less establishes MyWiry for a legitimate sense of it. And what we're talking about in this case is whether or not what MyWiry even is at this point. Is it an LLC, a non-profit association organization? Is it a non-profit, which is what that was supposed to imply? Is it supposed to be a single business model, a one-person model, a run by single individual business that you can tax on, or tax-free or exempt taxes on? Whichever one of those will do that. Because I think with LLC, you have to be taxed, and with tax exemptions, unless you're a straight-up charity, even nonprofits might have a little issue with that. But nonprofits still can have tax exemptions and not be tax-free. And LLCs have to be taxed, I think, for the most part, even if it's a one-person model, especially if actually. I'm looking at making MyWiry any of those three. It's either an LLC, a nonprofit association organization, or a one-person business model, which implies either one of those things. I think Dan Coe even wanted to have his LLC ideas or even his business model ideas come to be seen as a nonprofit charity, but I never really implied nonprofit charity myself. So, but MyWiry is looking to be more like an LLC at this point, even if I don't want to be one yet, because it's going to grow and evolve either way. So that's what happened even since I started making the website and other stuff. So we're gonna do that with a Secretary of State. We're gonna have some paid fees and stuff like that. We're going to have to do some forms for the taxes or even the exemptions. And we're going to have to do other stuff to arrange that so that it officially gets either a trademark or copyright or something like that on the bottom for the footer. The site will update, the Squarespace site will have the footer updated for the year I made the official business information and what rights I have, what I don't have, what I can do with the business and what I can't do with the business, and all so forth, and how I get, whether or not I get taxed, and if I do have to change the business model later, how I'm going to be able to do that, which I can probably cover later. So yeah. Number 3, physical place. I'm not gonna lie, that actually seems like the hardest thing on the list so far. Because, to be honest with you, a brick and mortar location doesn't have to be literally an office or a farm or a ranch or a station or a farm station or a ranch and radio, whatever my rights play at this point. Do I even need to have a location for my way to be brick and mortar, technically? Perhaps literally, I need a brick and mortar location to be physical, because it will at least help with everything else. Because if it's going to be on the up for business and have a location, then it might as well let it be literal and not screw people over, or even legally for that matter. But, I'll say for now, my short answer will be yes, it will have a location, brick and mortar actually. It will have some sort of proof of existence that is physical that I can go to. That may even be a building. It doesn't have to be a building, but hopefully it's a building. We hope it's a building. If not, then air conditioning outside. But maybe some kind of form of acre that can have a location for it. And then you'll have some kind of way to work on it. Could be an office, could be a farm, could be any of those things. Could even be just, like I said, a lot that's outdoors, or it could also form as a ranch or a station, stuff like that. There's like any of those things. That's the short of it. And then not that I don't know too much more about that or have any ideas what I can work with this, but that's the more thing we have to think about that. So that's at least what happens by where it becomes a physical location, and not just. But there you go. Number 4, testimonials. This is not going to be too hard to do, even if it's a little tricky to attract the attention at first. What I'm going to need is proof that I also managed to be successful with my business. And one of the best ways to do that is to have people saying good things about me for the most part. Even if they have criticisms that suggest negativity, even if they actually had issues with me, even if things go wrong outside of both our controls, it could just mean that it's part of the journey, and that's probably what it means anyways. But enough of that. The thing is our testimonials are whenever people are going to say something about me with or without actually meaning to kiss my ass or hate me or whatever. But even without either of those things, that's probably better for me anyways, not to have to ask, kiss, or hate me. But but it's like whatever honest criticism they have, or what they really think about me for what I did with business with them after the fact, then that's when we get to good in the long run. That's pretty much all I have to say for now, other than maybe their testimonials could include things like not just the business production or efficiencies of what we did together, which is me makes think that's not over professional, but it's literally what they have to say in general. It doesn't have to be business wise. It could be their mission of their own, could be their own goals, their own desires, what they feel about most things, what influenced them in spite of being with me in the business of my wire. So yeah. Number 5, updates / consistency. This is going to be like maybe a 2-parter, but basically, this item update / consistency means basically, at least as far as I understand, the blog and journal, the intuition journal that I have on the site so far, which consistently elaborates on things that I'm not actually progressing on. I'm just saying them because I know how I feel about them and what I mean about them being things I'm working on in the meantime. That doesn't have to be the only thing that consistency and updates implies, but whatever I'm working on for my Wiry, and I'll give an example because I haven't this whole video so far yet, I think. I was working on being more good about transit in real life. I was good about riding the bus more often, doing these video edits on, none other than Splice on Android. Freaking that awesome 10 out of 10 app right now for Android. That I see in my opinion. I'm planning on getting both Splice and transits on the bus to be paid for, so I can do more travel, to even be in person for business meetings, all that, and to be more objective and in reality about what I'm doing in my life, without being hard on myself, of course. But that's just one solid example I think is good about that. That's an update I could talk about on the Wiry podcast, and I did that already, so there you go. And that's one way I could do the intuition journal, is blog post and update about how I'm consistent in my life. Even if I'm still being slow in other ways, but I don't have to be hard about it then. I can still talk about what I'm being slow about, but that's all I know what I'm going to say about it. It doesn't have to always be new, just how I feel about it in the consistent moment. Other than the posts for the intuition journal, updates and consistency, just being on my own behavior, being on my own mission, just trying to make things work, whether I talk about it or not, even if I don't even mention it, and with mild meaning to, whatever that's supposed to mean. it's all a journey anyways. So there you go. Updates and consistency. Number 6, purpose focus. Could have just said focus purpose, but there you go. So purpose focus, we're gonna just say for a second that again my Wiry is evolving. We're not just focusing these things on any given purpose that has to stay the same. Even though I'm a big firm believer that some purposes shouldn't have to change or never should. But basically, when I started my Wiry, you may have heard about this before, especially the non-archive changelogs in even the earlier videos. The very first purpose of my Wiry wasn't even to be my own best version. It was to serve something that was bigger than myself, which it still does to an extent anyways. But the first thing outside myself that I was focused on was one of my passions, which was a combination of several things I liked at the same time. It was female philosophy and benefiting girls and women of their own beliefs and perspectives and ideas, giving them a chance to express them more. So female philosophy in the other ways as well. But that was the first mission. Then it evolved into one person's business model, which couldn't be a nonprofit as easily. And then it also went into doing other things as well. So they evolved over time drastically even. But it didn't change its central virtues, which was to care about all the ideas and experimentations that I could give a chance for. That's one of my biggest virtues, personally speaking, is to give everything a chance to exist and to give everything a chance to be itself. And honestly speaking, even if that's not a personal virtue, it was a central virtue of my Wiry system. So I didn't have to enforce that too much, but it was essentially one of my own personal virtues. Now, nowadays, my Wiry has become a one-person business model, if not an LLC, and maybe even without the nonprofit and female philosophy virtues of specific stuff, it still has those elements and immersions of the spirit of some of that stuff within my Wiry. It can still even focus on those things every once in a while, even without having to take over. But as far as purpose virtue, the mission statement comes to be about now that my Wiry is a farm station for new ideas. And that, again, ties back into female philosophy a little bit, ties back into the nonprofit intentions, and even ties back into when I intended to have my Wiry be something bigger than myself, which it can still serve myself and other people. But there you go. Last item, guys. See you too. Number 7, goals and improvements. This is a bit of a deja vu here, but I promise this is going to make sense. And like the other item about updates and consistency, this is more of the goals and improvements that we're on right now. This is more about and even purpose focus. This is, aside from those two items, is more about what I really want with or without my Wiry. What my Wiry is without itself, and what I would do to change, even if I knew that it wasn't going to only be worth it, which ultimately means it's worth it in the long run. Now, what I mean by that, philosophically speaking, deep for a business I own for a different reason, which is the same reason anyways. Deep again. What do I have when I don't have my Wiry anymore? What does my Wiry have? What doesn't have me anymore? And what does it mean for my goals and improvements to be things that are perpetually climbing the mountain, proverbially speaking, without having to be hard on myself for where I'm at, or even too in my ego for where I'm at? And is it okay to always have progress? Is it always okay to have things working on, or even not being as specific as possible with this, or any specific at all? I can give you one more example, actually, that's solid and real, maybe. But my Wiry, one of the goals of my Wiry is to, financially speaking, not worry about money. And that's not even a specific goal for money, but there you go. A specific other goal would be how it improves. I want my Wiry to have a weekly update system, so not just the podcast, not just the newsletter, which it will be a newsletter, not just the posts for the blog, not just for the testimonials from the consultations and commissions, and not even just being able to share the profits for other causes. It is to literally be updated on a weekly basis or more often. It's to be updated on any of those things, like I said for the other item about the consistency and updates. It's literally any of those things. It's just keep going forward, even if that still sounds subjective enough, but it will still work out. If the whole point was to just evolve and grow, and even if it crashed and burned, my Wiry saying that far, and it still didn't have to succeed, it still succeeds on something else, which allowed me to grow as a person. And that doesn't have to sound too selfish after knowing that I still want the other things to be better than myself, bigger than myself, not to only be about me, but not be nothing about me either, because some of this is an original thing as well. There are always immersions you have with things, even if you don't intend to make them about yourself. And last thing I'll say about the last item goals and improvements is that you're always learning, even if you're learning something that doesn't have to be relevant to what you really care about or what you're really passionate about. Even if it's not, you're improving an area that doesn't have to be about your main focus, and even if you're improving something that may be irrelevant to your focus, they all interconnect, ultimately speaking. All of them do. And all those things do. So it's just a matter of what I do in my Wiry at this point. LLC, goals and improvements. Oh, and one more thing I'll say too is that I have been getting a lot better with the mental health. And the mental health is important because if you're driving the company and business model with your own mental health, it can make or break it. Because if you're like me, and I'm only going to say this to brag a little bit more, I haven't already, if you aren't able to carry yourself really well, you'll carry the business really well. And the business won't have to suffer as much in the wrong direction. It will suffer anyways, but for things that are worthwhile, instead of suffering only for the bad things, if you know what I mean by that. No. This is the recap for the list. I'm not going to flip the phone for another trim edit real quick. I'm just going to show you real quick, without even mirroring it. It is my Wiry, number 1, business licensure. Number 2, search results. It's not mirrored display. Number 3, physical place. Number 4, testimonials. Number 5, update consistency. Number 6, purpose focus. And number 7, goals and improvements. Just showing those for reference. This doesn't matter if you don't get in the window yet. You saw it in the other part of the video. So all the edits and trims. Take care, everyone. Stay still. Establish is on the move. That was the Crosswind slogan outro. I need to do 10 more seconds for 20. And we'll update the rest of the subjective versus objective videos from splice editing as like a splice bot, because I already got the second video edited on splice already, if I do it later on. And yeah, you guys can catch me on Otto, Crosswind, Marchscarf, Dearest, Inescapable, Glow Spinner, and Tony Cashler on YouTube. All those 4 channels exist. I also have a Twitter and a Discord, and you can find those information later on. If I don't link them right away, you can ask me on the channel.com as well, where I upload those videos. And I will see you guys in other videos, no matter what they are. It could be claymations on the Squarespace by Wiry site. Could even be on real life, if you find me even there. Or else, or ooh, deep again. 3 times the charm. There you go, guys. Bye.